and say, this is what you're gonna do in 2 years, everything is gonna have the same. Don't do that.
I'm having a day. I said I took a couple of days off. Ha, that was a mistake. Oh,
How many emails did you come back to, right?
probably around 75. Yeah, for Friday, which is a half day, and yesterday.
Do you have any of those, new sign folders on your computer too that we can share? We'll get to the garden.
Yes, I have them all.
Great. All right, so.
Oh,
Hey,
oh,
all right.
now we can. Do the
Yeah.
minutes. I'd say 3 is,
Great.
3 out of 5 is reasonable.
You filled this out with,
But that's only 2 of us.
What?
oh, Rob wasn't here either?
Wasn't here either.
Oh, I was thinking it gave you a third one. I was thinking it gave you a third one that was here. Yeah, yeah.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
defer.
Could we approve with a caveat? I don't know.
Well, Guy has
Yeah.
some modifications.
Why bother? Yeah, I'd say send them over to us
Okay,
and we
yeah.
can incorporate them.
Yeah. And I should be around now. It's gonna be vacation.
I know. I know it is. All right, Tom. Ready?
Yeah, sure.
We on?
You're good. We're going.
All right, thanks. We'll call the meeting to order. Conservation Commission May meeting. Make sure, since this is a hybrid meeting, please be sure to take turns and not speak over one another and raise hands. So in case we have anybody that's going to be online, so that we can accommodate everybody, and it is being recorded for posterity. So with that said, no one to citizens, approval of minutes, so,
And roll call.
oh, roll call, I forgot about that. You're right, I've been away,
Chairman Di Lorenzo,
present.
Thomas Heisler. Asked to be excused, or said he may join late.
Okay,
Guy Hoffman,
Present.
Carl Lewis, Karen Pagliaro,
Present.
Mary Catherine LaRose,
Here.
Robert Ramsey,
Present.
and Jason Pelletier. I'm gonna put him as excused. Notice he wasn't on one of the initial emails. We had an old email list, so we'll just double check that he's getting included on
Cool.
all. Jason Pelletier, he's a member that was appointed well over the last month on 2024, he got added to the list. So it was probably the town council meeting immediately preceding that.
So we don't know if he's been sworn in or.
Right. We don't know if he's had all that yet.
That is Jason, who you're referring to.
Yes.
So he hasn't been at a meeting yet.
No, it was after the April meeting that he has been appointed.
Was that as an alternate or a regular member?
I'm thinking it must be an alternate,
I don't-
but I'm not seeing, they didn't note it that way on I'll double check with the town clerk's office because it doesn't say alternate next to his
No.
name like it usually does.
Yeah, because everybody else.
Cause there was an alternate available, cause
There were
when,
two.
yeah,
Everybody else is-
but you had
So-
one for a while.
Yeah, but was that, so Peter?
Peter Zaragoza was an alternate and stepped out, so I'm thinking that must be the
Did he
position.
officially step out? Because we had that issue
Yes.
too. He did, so he's off the list. Okay.
Yes,
All right, so. Maybe next meeting we'll see our new member. Today, okay. So we got the roll call, thank you. Approval of minutes and if I read Marlo's note there, I would have known those are the four present. Since only two out of the four are here, we'll defer to next month.
a motion to postpone?
I motion, that we postpone, approval of minutes until the next meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
So- Guy can have it.
No, that's okay. Any further discussion on that? No, all in favor of deferring approval of minutes till next month? Say aye. Aye. So moved, thank you. Okay, so besides the old business, are there any new plans, Maureen?
We have no new plans
Oh, that's the first, okay.
for planning and zoning commission. That's all the way down at item number 6.
Wow.
No new plans.
No, I just needed to know if you, 'cause sometimes you have new ones that we add.
Oh, that we add up into the, no, actually this time, so all the plans you've seen have mostly, those that you did see. If you saw them, they've been postponed at the planning and zoning commission, so they've been just carried over. And then everything else has been development that's on the Berlin Turnpike, well-developed parcels and properties and
Already seen them.
things that you wouldn't otherwise look at, fully developed parcels that are going for additions, changes to the parking lots, just items like that, not things that change the impervious surface for the most part.
Okay, thank you. Well, then we'll hop right into the garden.
So there were a number of things going on with the garden.
Okay.
One is that the garden is fully rented out. We turned one person away. It was someone who didn't do the early bird for getting their plot again, so there is some discussion as to whether there's a possibility to fit him in, or if there's a date by which somebody doesn't utilize their garden, then he'll be the first on the call list to have a garden. I believe that's the only person we have on a wait list. So that's about where I think you should be with just a couple, and presumably a couple people on a wait list is, in my opinion, extremely reasonable. Cause then you don't have vacant plots on off years,
This
It's
was a little
waiting in line.
case though, because he was a longtime gardener.
Yeah, he was a gardener.
He just didn't
Didn't
do
make
it.
Missed
attention.
all the
So we felt
emails.
kind of bad and, Carol. We talked to Steve Wood and Carol, is there a way that we can shoehorn in something there? But maybe somebody won't.
Yeah, so the most recent thoughts from staff side is that if, because it'd be very difficult for our grounds guys to find a way to shoehorn. It's extremely tight, so is in the regulations or the rules, there is a provision for if you haven't utilized your spot by a certain date, of course, we'd reach out to that person, make sure that they're not just away that week, and or the weather was bad or whatever, you get a bunch of rainy days off, whether you a day off on the weekend or not, and well, then you can't do your yard work, which this would be considered in that category, I think. So, we'd reach out, make sure that they weren't gonna end up participating, but then we'll offer it to that gentleman if that's all right with everybody here.
So before you go
Mhm.
to your next pictures, so I was at the garden when we were talking about this with Carol, and she brought up, we got to maybe thinking about expansion. So once the season runs its course, maybe we can talk about that. And I asked Steve to get some numbers to take, basically the side that's against the road, that's facing the road, it's cleared now, pretty much. Maybe take a section of the fence, whatever those panels are.
See, and I was just thinking the opposite, which was that we've actually, from years ago, that we set the size actually pretty decent. It's
I know.
We very,
Really large plots, though, which you could absolutely cut in half.
We did that once, though, I think we
Yeah.
cut
I
back.
remember doing that once
yeah.
too, and somebody, they didn't want the whole thing, so we rented the other side too, so that's another option.
Some years we've been just under.
Right.
And then just that, so.
Yeah,
I know.
I was
but
kind of
what
thinking.
about the expense for the fence, though?
Well, listen, we have the garden fund. I mean, we do charge rent. We gotta see what the numbers are. So,
So you
What's
go
this,
up
the
from the
shed?
side
Right.
toward the road?
that's the real only place to go,
Oh,
I
okay.
would think, because
Yeah.
the other way is towards the field and they've got their piles there too.
Yeah,
But I'm just thinking that would be, and it'd be less for them to have to mow and weed whack too,
Yeah.
right.
which is always a good
Right.
thing. So,
There's also the expense for the shed though, too, so
which we, yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm being a pain in the neck.
no, so what did we figure? What were we at? 2009 is when it started, so.
Good.
Yeah, things wear out and we just replaced the sign too and
Then the water thing,
the water thing, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah, so. Just food for thought, we'll see how this, summer goes, and I told Carol she's gotta maybe come here and we gotta hash it out. Get some estimates too.
I think it's great though, for something like that.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
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 oh, yeah.
exactly.
I agree.
Yeah. And we did, last month, we had the motion to use the funds to repair the shed.
Yeah, we had the minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm. And the shed looks wonderful. It's in these pictures. We'll show you the pictures in a second.
Yes, Mary.
It's Mary Catherine. I was just wondering if, in the past, if people had the larger plots and didn't utilize the whole larger plot, if individually those people could be contacted to see if they'd want to split theirs with this person that didn't get a spot this year.
Possibility.
I don't know how many large ones there are. It's 3 or 4 people and I don't, even if it was just asked for this year, someone that's been here a long time, didn't get in on time and, are you gonna use your whole plot? I'm just a thought.
That's a thought to
We can,
ask Carol.
yeah, we can ask Carol
You
about
might
that.
even know from past,
Yeah.
who used, who had the big plots and who had a rate, so.
They did have a work party a couple weeks ago, 2
Right.
weekends ago, I think. and
she
cleaned
will.
up and did some work. I haven't been back by since they had it. I was there, just right before, and they were really, she did send a note that she was pleased, but I think so. I'm recalling the note that, it went well. But yeah, just some enthusiasm. Maybe it was Steve who told me that he had dropped by at one point during it, but that, they're a sense of community. It sounds like the community garden has a sense of community, which I think is one of the main goals. So I think that's awesome. They learn from, she said they spend a lot of time learning from each other and learning, and new methods and trying new foods. I did take a picture today as well, which I don't think I ended up sending to myself, that shows a whole little, what do you call it? The seedling, garden on social services windowsill, which is Robin's department. And, they are gonna be planting, that's what social services in St. Paul's and Upbeat will plant into their plot at the garden. So I was really excited to see that today. And if you
Great.
walk by your office, look in, and it's
I'll provide a tour.
I sent all these other pictures to myself, but forgot to send. I ran down the hall with my phone to take a picture and then forgot to send it. So, but I thought the little seedlings were really exciting.
What are you growing?
So we have a variety of things, carrots and peas and cucumbers and oh shoot, a couple of herbs. It was from a scavenger hunt that we did with the town, and so the kids got to choose what they wanted to plant. We offered seeds, and then they also, so unfortunately we have like probably way too many cucumbers, but not enough of a lot of other things, but that's what I can think of off the top of my
Nobody
head.
requested broccoli, right?
No, no, I think the broccoli seeds were actually left untouched.
Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah. That's great. The,
I'll take the cucumber. You ever get it? I love it.
yeah, that's what every kid thinks.
So we use it for our food pantry. So it's
Oh,
really
yes,
summer,
right, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have a cart of vegetables that were grown and harvested and yeah, our residents can use them for fresh veggies during the summer.
Perfect. Photos?
Yep. So these are in random order, or however they loaded on here. I didn't reorder them. So this is the new sign. Let's see if I can get this off someplace else, so it's out of the way. Put it down. That's better than elsewhere. Another one of the new signs. So the sign was looking quite shabby. It was, it had like
Rotted.
turns. Yeah, it was very rotted, very, very rotted. So,
And one of our community, well,
so
she's not a gardener, but she's my neighbor, actually. She painted the first sign, so she graciously donated.
That's a great job.
Yeah.
So we'll do a shout out to her. She's Carol
Carol Marino.
She's
M-A-R.
very,
No.
very lovely. I want to get these posted, and our economic development director, unfortunately, he was out of the office and then I was out of the office. But we're gonna try to give a little publicity to the community garden. I'll, work with his publicity person. So again, there's lots of pictures because, so this is Carol Marino and Carol Gooden, the sign. Again, here's the shed partially painted. That's
Oh,
as they were
oh, that's
painting.
too.
So, right, while we were out there, we picked the color. This is the natural wood color, the lighter, and they stained it the darker color. They wanted something very natural. They didn't want a color. They wanted the grain of the wood to shine through, which seemed appropriate. But the clear coat was a little too just stark and white. It'll age, but this might, with a little bit of stain, might age just a little easier. And I think in the next pictures, you'll see that it's that's the lighter color. Again, tons of pictures. We tried to get different angles, the garbage can in, the garbage can out. There's Mike, the chairman, he asked not to be included in the publicity pictures, tried to get a view of the garden as a whole and the size. We had a discussion about the rules sign and the operation of the pump while we were out there as well. So Carol did resend the pump video that Steve Wood had made on how to operate the pump. She resent that out to all the gardeners. I believe they may have found the rules sign. It'll get put back on the shed or in the shed. And there may be just a couple of something, Steve reminded me, that when the garden was initiated, the idea was not to have a lot of signs and clutter on the fence and where it would be visible. So, maybe few very simple rules, turn off the water, I think those simple reminder kind of notes we might make signs of, or a sign that shows a couple of those key points of what to do. But then the rules back probably on the inside of the door again, and et cetera. They're all on everybody's application. Everybody has them, but just a reminder that the rules are there as opposed to cluttering the fence, because that was an objective of the commission at the time. And more signs, then tried to get one sign that showed that it was also the conservation area. I'm not great. I'm not the best photographer, and you move the garbage cans out of the picture on one side and you end up with them on the other picture. So, but I think that's the side, the photos. So
Thank you. That was second or third week of April, oh no, that was early April, right?
no, I think it was actually they're dated.
Anyway, you could see the weed trees aren't fully leafed out yet, but my point is that while we were there for almost 2 hours, right? So, but a lot of people died. I was in a lot of activity.
So I think the garden's doing well.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, thank you. And kudos again to Carol Gooden. She's got control, which is good. That's a good thing. Trail updates.
So go ahead.
Just to jump in, because you had the Judy's Pound Lands other. I just want to mention about what we talked about. We kind of put on a motion last month, a time frame on this, which you need to be aware of. But it came up about the camping stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Maureen, you came up with this, right? You found
Yeah, I found those draft rules
Rules.
from a number of
and
years
it
ago.
doesn't look like they've ever really been
Like,
formally
adopted.
adopted.
By the commission
So
or,
we should probably get this actually out to everybody. I mean, I could email it to you or something, and then.
I'm sure
and then- Yeah.
I emailed
and
it
then-
out the
and
first
then
time.
Just
Yeah.
email it to
Mhm.
everybody. But whether or not there's anything in here that you see as a problem.
Okay.
And then it's not really, in a sense, it's not really up to us to enforce the rules. Registration goes through Parks and Rec, and they still need to go through the fire marshal. There's certain other steps to take. But it is on conservation land. So, it should be something that all of us agree, and have some kind of input on. And try to get this form, because the group came in, wanted to know what they could do or couldn't do. And it's kind of like Carl and I are kind of going like, well, let's see, from back when they first fixed it up, what did we agree to, what did we modify? And there isn't just, this is the closest thing.
Yeah, so what happened is, I've kind of taken over in this department. Someone new took over down in Parks and Rec, and between the two of us, I think she found the form first, I found a different version or whatever, but it was the same, it was the same. It was definitely the same exact time period. And then we searched minutes, Conservation Commission minutes, searched, I think we ended up doing a search of Park and Rec, but you never found it was adopted, nor discussion of why it wasn't adopted. Like, where did it, what happened? How did it fall off, or was it something that needed to be fall? To be, and I'm just, well, throw out to everyone who maybe wasn't here last month, did anyone else recall something with regard to these rules? As to why maybe they weren't adopted, or if there was discussion about them? And or they otherwise seem to align with conversations I'd had with Jen Show, the Director of Parks and Community Recreation, Parks Recreation, no, whatever. Then that they seem to align with their forms and what they've been doing as well. So just a matter of,
So, I know you weren't here, and I wasn't here, but this kind of was started maybe a week before, or two before our last meeting. And the Scout contacted Park and Rec and Steve Wood and wanted to move the porta potty to the, where the fire pit and the pavers area, the little house area there on Ashbrook. Also wanted to drive their supplies there with their vehicle.
and it actually wasn't an Eagle Scout, it was the troop leader, I believe, that had
Troop leader?
contacted us, it was the troop leader.
Well, that's not what Steve Wood told me, but.
Okay.
But anyway, so Steve and I talked about it a little bit offline, and was like, well, you know, he didn't want vehicles there, it's wet. Gonna have to pull it out, and I, so can't move it portable. You walk to that, or you.
And and in the end, the two people
Wasn't
that
enough
spoke
time.
for the scout weren't really pushing that. I guess it's something that came up
Mhm.
and they wanted to know if that's something, you know, and it wasn't like a deal breaker or anything.
But it was also
And
a
we
compressed
did-
timeline, it was over, it was very short notice.
And last month, we ended up saying no to both those things, that we didn't feel that those, you know, that we wouldn't support
Yeah.
doing that.
Right. Where's the porta potty? Is it ready?
Just, it'd be the.
At the garden.
Oh, on that side, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that means.
Well, and it's just a trail. It's not really a road.
What kind of vehicle?
Project, they bring their equipment or something also, you know, so you have two different things.
So the Scout's supposed to carry their equipment?
That's what that's what I said.
Don't write that. Yeah.
But in the end, they were fine, with what we said,
Okay.
but it was.
They were just asking.
Yeah, it's something that came up somewhere along the line with somebody pushing, you know, going like, why can't? But we did say that we'd like to see something adopted in the next 3 months, that each of the commissions have a say.
How many commissions would be involved in
At least
formulating these regulations?
So I believe it's basically the Conservation Commission for the rules, et cetera, but the Parks and Grounds Commit, Parks and Rec Commission for the, implementation of doing it, because it's their department that has the mechanism, the forms, that checks the liability, that has the ability to sign people up and coordinate who's at what parks and what facility throughout town at any given time. We don't have any
So
of
where
that in our
Where does
department.
it go to be adopted? To,
I
How
think
far?
I'm thinking both commissions
Right.
would
Yeah,
adopt the
something-
rules and make sure they
so
work.
it doesn't have to go to town council or anything like that.
I don't, not that I'm aware of. These seem to
So-
be rules that go with this
Well,
commission.
so what I'm thinking is if we can get someone to work on it from our commission and jointly with someone from Park and Rec. Look at those.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I really don't think, there's probably not much in there
Yeah.
that needs to be,
Yeah.
And we could always
exactly,
get Donegal Bay to come to one of our meetings, the chair of Park and Rec.
probably, we
So-
can talk to, you know,
So, and then, of course, the issue about when people have tried to campfire there in the past. And the neighbor called.
Right,
They called
Um,
the fire department too one time.
yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Of course, Carl, you know, I made a comment last time, and I really don't think that our approval or whatever, I don't think that that really should fall into this. I mean, this is something that it's town land. This is what, if this is what we decided, to put in, Adam put in the fire pit. It's locked. So that people can't use it other than by getting
Approved.
permission. Yeah,
Permitted, permitted.
Um. As far as I know, the neighbor is, it might be an adjoining property, but there's Hatchery Brook in between, you know, and, you know, it's not like this fire is near the property line.
Oh, yeah, but
You know,
never-
but I know, but, you know, that shouldn't stop us from being able to do what we set out to do when they first did the project and with that, all of that in mind. So
yeah, I don't think,
you know,
I don't think we've ever.
I didn't want that to be the deciding factor. in Whether we supported them using the facility.
So my thinking is once the two commissions agree on
Yeah.
a set of regulations, maybe those regulations, we can mail them to the adjoining property owner, so that they know these are our regulations and this is what we're allowing, and then they have notice.
I think they've been told numerous times, every time that there's a permitted activity there. Now, it's different if there's some kids on a Saturday night or
Right.
whatever, you know.
But I don't know that they know every time you allow a permit, they're not given notice
I-
of that, so.
I
they're gonna
think
call
that would
every
be,
time
that
they
would
see a
be
fire.
pretty onerous on the town,
No,
to-
I
in
know,
my
that's
own
why I'm
opinion.
saying-
I think that that's something that, you know, they live next to the
Yeah.
open space, they probably specifically tried to buy a property next to open land, and it's there to be used by the townspeople. I don't know that that's necessary. They have
I
been
disagree.
told, they know the fire pit is there for sure. We know that the fire marshal, as well as, you know, those that report seem to be the same reporting people, and they can always call the office or the police station. The police station is aware when someone's there,
Okay,
you know, so if there's
Oh,
some,
that
hey,
goes
there's
to
somebody
somebody.
there. Yep, they're supposed to be, yeah, but they have to go check it out, I think, under certain. Yeah, I believe it's on that list. It's part of that liability. The fire marshal definitely is anytime there's the permit for the fire.
Grounds.
Yeah, yeah, it's all those, I mean, I think that's a real, I mean, and I do think that list was vetted from what I found in the history, and again, that was several months ago, I found that, because I actually got asked that question about the camping before I went on vacation, and then the Woody and you were looped in while I was away and didn't know that, oh, well, we found this form and isn't this what they can do? And found out later that it was kind of a rush. So, and I think when I was searching to find that, I found that the commissions had worked together to come up with a list. And if I recall correctly, the list includes kind of responsibilities on both sides. And the idea is, or what my understanding from it was, that then the users don't need the authorized users, those limited users that are authorized to apply. It's not for, you know, JQ prom party after the prom or what. But the organized groups to then just go straight to Parks and Rec and not have to come before either commission, because that's a long delay.
Right.
you know,
They have
you might have,
connections.
and you're watching the weather a couple weeks out for a camping trip, not 3 months. You don't know whether it's gonna rain that weekend or not, torrentially. Yes, we all camped in the rain, I hope. It's an experience everyone should have. Uh, Torrential or not, but
Get this emailed out.
Yeah.
Email it out to everybody. One other thing that we don't have to really deal with now, but kind of an interesting thought was they asked about other places in town they could actually camp. And the old Girl Scout camp came up, and we're going like, I'd have to walk through there again with that in mind. Is there some place, it certainly, it has a road going down, you know. It was set up for camping initially, is there a unit that's a little bit further away from a trail or something that might be good for camping, for scouting groups? There may be. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's what we want to do or not, but I'm just saying, over time, we want to mull that over, if that's something that we want to deal with or not. But that was reflected as far as, are there other places? I think it was kind of like, let we could think about it or whatever. He mentioned another place for camping on one of the bigger trails, I thought.
I think he's,
Or Tom
said-
did.
yeah, that there's,
But there's no fire or,
right, there's camping allowed on some of the through trails,
Trails,
like the Blue
yeah.
Trail and stuff,
Yeah.
like you can camp along that. And in certain areas you mentioned, I don't know that we,
that are within the town.
right, within the town, but they're, yeah, you can't, it wouldn't be for gathering, it's for the trail, through the hikers, really, hiking trail, hiking, camping locations.
Well, I think let's
Yeah.
tackle this,
Tackle this.
what we have, and move that along. That's a good idea.
One of the things we have to look at when we talk about other locations in town is whether there were restrictions put on when they were
Right, yeah.
acquired by the town.
Yeah.
Or restricted, acquired or restricted by the town, whichever the case may be. So that may take some title searching and or grant searching, because sometimes it's a restriction that's based on the grant itself that you use to acquire. If you got a grant for money to buy something or to improve something, sometimes it has added restrictions based on wherever that money came from.
I think basically passive recreation is the allowed thing. I think we had to get dispensation, so to speak, for the garden, because that was, I think that was kind of a new thing for deep when
Mhm.
we got the grant there. But they improved that too.
And
And sometimes it's just that extra step
Yeah.
of going through deep and getting the deep commissioner to sign off if that's where it came from. Sometimes it's, can't change it without his authorization,
Yeah.
but they get to review it too.
Also, though, if I remember right, the rules, there's certain rules about what kind of things they can use to fertilize. It has to be like
Yeah.
organic, so
Yes.
that was.
Carol was on top of that, like. You mentioned Miracle Grow around her, and she's like, yeah. Yeah, she's. Yeah, they're really nice to make over there, which is good. That was good.
Oh,
Just talking about this.
so Tom Heisler,
Say-
drive
say
7:15.
What? This is what we did earlier. Tom, Robin Evans, this is Tom Heisler. Any other comments on town land? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Guy, for that. That's a good idea.
So in the next.
Actually, yep, so let's page.
Okay, so,
Work on signs and-
yeah, so we've been working on signs for, the
Access points.
access points, one of the signs was mistyped. And so he's making new stickers to go over them or fixing those signs. I'm not sure if he's replacing those signs or not. It says WW dot instead of WWW dot. So, you know, like, would anyone even notice?
Design that we
It
always
wa-
had.
But the,
The QR code on the bottom.
so,
putting-
yeah, so these are 3 copies of this if you wanna just like pass them around. And then we have the older signs that he's making stickers for. So we have the location, the new web address, because these are the old at Berlin, at town.berlin.ct.us, where we're now berlin.gov. So the sign, the sticker will go over that, as well as a QR code sticker to go on the other locations throughout town. So what I've asked him to make is the same size as the prints that he printed. We determined they'll fit. So the QR code in real size that's on those new signs will be the same size QR code that'll go on there. Fast forward 5 years, some new technology, whatever, we need a new QR code, we need a new web address.
Yeah. but it should
We
be the
only
same
need the
everywhere.
same size.
It should be the same everywhere. Yep.
Initially, we didn't think the size would fit, but it does. We found that they will fit. They won't be in exactly the same location on all the signs, but we'll
Yeah.
fit them on. We're gonna take them, unless we have some volunteers and some thoughts. I'm gonna take a trail map or a town map, and we'll send some staff people out with stickers, and we'll mark the maps with where we have signs. We don't know that we have a map of where signs are today. We might be in a file I can't figure out the name to.
No.
But where the signs are, how many have been made, et cetera, he said he'd just make more than we could possibly use will be, he said that's not a problem as far as the stickers go. But what we'll do is we'll create, my intent, let me put it that way, my intent is to have whoever has stickers in their hand to have a map with them. You put a sticker on a sign, you put an X on the map that says there's a sign and you got a sticker, and that's where it got updated, and we know where we have signs, because we don't have a count of how many have been installed. We know we're installing more, but let's get there.
You know what? It sounds like a nomination for Carl.
It's not here.
Unanimous.
On the same
Good.
kind of note, it's not really an open space connection, but it sort of is, because we have, and this isn't the best map right, or rather, I don't know that this is the last iteration, but it's a sidewalk map. And we have the sidewalk maps for the town. I believe I didn't have time to search through the New England Geo other maps, but I'm pretty sure I have one that shows a lot of the trail access points that they've put together so far as well. But I do think it's interesting to be able to use the 2 layers together, so that if you're wanting to go on a trail, you can walk to get there, maybe instead of taking a car and needing a parking space, and the utilizing the sidewalks with the trail maps. We might be able to find some of those places where they merge, and you have access that's foot traffic instead of solely looking for those parking spaces that we've all talked about a number of times, so. So look at our sidewalks, so these are existing sidewalks, proposed sidewalks, sidewalks that are already being installed, and sidewalks we're looking for a grant on. So, there's a little everything on the sidewalk map.
It's not a bad idea. Maybe there's an area.
But-
Off the side street.
Let's see, this QR code, let's see. And then Woody's crew will be working to install the corrected signs as well. So that those all should be up. He's very busy right now. Obviously, it's that time of year where grounds is got a lot to do, but they're, they have it in their hopper to be one of their things to do. They're all
Yeah, speaking of which too, they're really busy, but I've also talked to Steve about resurrecting our old idea of the, for lack of a better word, the old barn on Orchard, Stampede, the Wildjets, the old property there. Can't even see the barn now because the weeds have overgrown, but
Like in the corner then?
yeah, Kensington, right before,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one, and that's an actual access point can be for
that,
the trail.
and X number of police chiefs ago, I don't, it's been a few approved the sightline, but we. Yeah, so it goes back, that's access point, it's town property, it's an access point to, what we call the Blue Hills Conservation Area, which is that side of Orchard Road, which is a big area. That's underutilized, and. But there's liability on the barn, because it's,
Well, that was the last thing I heard, was that the barn might be the issue.
Yeah.
Because I was,
And that was-
I mean, you
yeah,
got
10 years
houses
ago.
there with the same kind of sightline.
oh, yeah,
You know,
or even, yeah, more challenging.
Because that's the perfect place for access for that trail,
Absolutely.
you know, it's
So-
our
What we're talking
property.
about?
I believe it's one of the
No, I just wanna
places
know-
that we've discussed putting one of that trail signs. If
Yeah.
it doesn't already have one, that's one of the
Yeah,
places
it's
that,
down at the bottom of the
Can you pull up
hill.
that picture? Please.
like the try.
Michael, who owns the barn? Is it on town property?
Yeah, yeah. It's just old and
Yeah.
ready to
Can't take it
come
down?
fall down.
So it's
Well,
not a
it's an
historic, is it a
expense.
historic?
Don't you think, isn't there some builder that wants that old barnwood that?
Yeah, that's what I would, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Maybe make money on it.
Kinda
It's
like-
actually fairly flat between alongside that barn too, you know, going in.
Yeah.
It's mowed every once in a while.
Hmm.
You know, like,
It is a tough sightline, they'd have to whack a lot of shrubbery and stuff, cause.
That one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, do you see this, you see, look down.
So here's where Kensington Road comes in. You're headed towards the turnpike over here. You're headed, up to the center of town here
down there.
and towards the garden here, and here's where the barn is. And if I pull up the aerial,
Yeah, because that's the part that they mow, it's in between. Yeah, so it's the house and the barn.
You can
right?
see
now this is a
Yeah.
2019 aerial. Let me see if I can.
So especially if those came.
But the house is also on town property? And no one lives there?
The house is disrepair.
Oh, that's almost as bad as the.
I don't know,
All
but I
that
would imagine,
Property came to us from Meriden Town.
That's not
Well,
the
that's
house.
very
That's
good.
across the street.
I don't think that's it.
No,
up
it's,
the road, I think. Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well, yeah.
creases, so it should be right here. I think it's this little curb cut.
Oh,
Well.
there's the
And I
one
know,
that you can barely see.
Yeah,
so this is a Google view, more recent,
It's actually.
or maybe not more recent. Looks like it's a little more
Huh.
recent. But
That's the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are most of these.
So
You can't cite it for blight and force it to take it down.
yeah,
It's like the town, it's like the town for blight.
I know.
That's on our open space.
it's a big, it's a big expense, that's the problem.
So, I mean, if you took just one of those, the house down. And took the brush and stuff that's around that, yeah, actually have a decent, it would open up the sight lines
Where
a
does the
little bit
trail,
better.
the trail, how far back you have to go to? get to-
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
to the left of the property down there, of the people.
see if the trail loads. May not on this map, we may not be able to see it
Is
here.
that trail?
There it is.
Trail
That's the
starts
blue
there,
there.
if you go by the stop sign. like,
Right up
get
here.
through
That's
there.
where I thought the
There's a
access
left
point
and
There is
was.
a little access point
And the,
there.
and the town put, people could
Park
park
there.
a car there and then they put a log or something or a rock. and
Oh, so they
it-
didn't want you to park
Right, because
of the
sightlines,
sightlines.
I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah, so you're right, if you made a little parking area where that house is,
Is,
you
you
could
could just,
blaze a trail
you could just. you
right
got
down
the-
and connect in there.
Yeah.
It's all town property.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's the
shit.
town. And
That
then
would
this
actually,
is
be more-
town.
could actually turn. into
That's
one of the
town.
largest
Oh, no, that's
off-road
not town.
parking
Yeah.
areas That we've ever had.
And that would be, could serve as the overflow for the events at
That would
Hatchery.
Great.
Computer's dying
Right.
quickly.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching the battery go down. I'm
Sorry.
getting
All right, so
panicked.
That's been my one, I keep mentioning that, like, we got the.
Right, the problem is the expense of
I
taking
know.
down the structures.
Doesn't
And
the
it's
South
all the
Lexington Fire Volunteer Fire Department?
Oh, have to practice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Carl, what are you going to do now?
It's a good question.
Although if they're really good, it might take years to burn it down.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you have to let the fires, I have to start.
Thank you, Maureen.
Yep. no problem.
Anyway, so that's still in the back of, my mind all the time.
Yeah, that's been.
Nothing's easy.
Potential there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. But you know what, Maureen, as you mentioned, at any rate, there, that's an access point location that we need to sign.
Mhm.
That-
Yeah, that one's been on the short list of a sign if it doesn't already have
And
one.
actually-
We think we discussed it several times.
Also gotta find out if there actually, so there isn't a connector trail from the road to the blue trail. So
You can drive by it.
So
Yeah.
there really needs to be something,
Blazed.
Blazed, thank you.
Yeah.
Blazed
Oh,
and then
from-
put on the map
Yeah,
from there, yeah, because the blue. It's a
yeah,
little bit
it
of
comes, right, I mean, you get from the road, you get down. But it's not signing. Yeah, other than that, you're. Walking up.
which is not
Yeah.
advisable, yeah. Okay, and the CFPA, they did that,
So
you
they,
guys talk about that?
so oddly enough, right after the discussion about the camping at Bicentennial, we had an inquiry from CFPA to actually drive in their truck with their materials so that they could work on the trails. Which we did some investigating, checked, and they are certainly the partner that's charged with maintaining and doing the work and clearly would not be damaging any grounds if they were bringing their truck in, so we administratively did allow them access through the gate. We actually think they may still have a key to the gate, or they, have used the key on numerous occasions so that they can access the trail and do their maintenance and the things that they do along the trail. So while the Boy Scouts, for good reason, were not allowed, or campers were not allowed to drive in, CFPA is much like our grounds crew driving in when they need to. And they did work with Steve Wood on, he checked the ground first. He did a walkthrough to make sure and talk to them about it. They were like, yeah, obviously, we're gonna,
Yes,
do our
CFPA
best,
is-
again, a good partner.
An excellent partner, they, whatever they need, because they really do a lot of work on the trails for us. It's great.
The town did actually get a complaint about them being in there again,
Oh.
as they've had in the past from the same
Is somebody.
property owner
Chainsaw.
that comments who had enforcement issues for encroaching at one time. Same property owner doesn't want CFPA to go in and maintain the property. So we're, but evidently there was no incident or anything else. It was just the call was made, so. And they were alerted, and we'll just make sure that dispatch, not, one person, make sure that dispatch knows so
No.
that they can, again, that's just a matter of us internally making sure we have all our checks and, did you call everybody that needed to get called? And I apologize for not having notified them.
Actually, just jumping back one section to town lands again. I'm behind a month, but, the bike race and the last person standing, Ragged Mountain.
I believe they're both coming up.
Okay,
I don't think either happened yet.
okay, I've lost track.
But I will, yeah, I lost track
Okay.
of the dates. I'd have to look at the minutes to double check the dates or my or calendar that I otherwise have, for things like that, but it's not here. I did also print out Connecticut Trail Days, flyer. I emailed that out to everybody late today. I just was going through my week of email or the last few days of emails. So if anybody wants to take one of those to remind themselves to check and go out, that's why they're there.
CFDA, so when you check the date for the high school bike race at, Entry Brook, you might wanna send an email to Carol Gooden just to let her, give her a heads up. that
All right.
It's happening again. Thank you. All right, thank you. No P and Z, conservation area encroachments.
So we have a couple of conservation area encroachments. One of them is at Cormier Woods, which is the area is supposed to be, so that's the subdivision off Ice Pond and Main Street in East Berlin. Up on the hill goes towards Savage Hill. And the property owner at the end in the subdivision, the conservation area wraps around the site. It's going to be a homeowner kept conservation area. You know, It's not gonna be a town conservation area, but it was a requirement. For the subdivision they put in. The lot owner at the end of the cul-de-sac, cleared open space between his lot and his actually adjacent lot that's off Savage Hill, the Nero Farm. And so we sent out an enforcement order. They've now provided this, restoration plan. And which I'm planning to bring to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well, but would like, Conservation Commission to comment on it if you feel it's appropriate and necessary. I think having, and you can pull it down there. I can also bring it up on the screen, but I really wanted to bring up the area. So
So it's a hope they have an association.
they will. It's the street and everything. I don't know if they have an association yet. I think it's
Oh,
still
the
owned
developer.
by the developer. The street has not been turned over. The public improvements have not been turned over to the town yet or anything. This was discovered when they,
So the developer put the monuments or the signs. that
I
were-
don't believe they're
Yeah.
up yet. But
But they can't use those signs because it isn't town-owned open space, right? We
right,
that
they'd have to
requirement
use
that-
other
that's-
signs. I would again have to look at their,
I don't think we ever thought
their
about that in
plan to
regs.
determine what it is, but right now it's, it is owned by Decormier Woods Homeowner Association, so you can see the open space wraps all the way around. Let me share this screen so that in the recording it's shared. Excuse me 1 second. So the homeowners association does have, this whole space is there. Do you want me to zoom out more so you can get perspective? I don't know what is best for everybody to see. So here we have Main Street, here we have Division Street, and Spruce Brook Road, Savage Hill. That is what is to be open space. And this is the particular area right here that you can see coming from that cul-de-sac. It's Brittany's Path cul-de-sac there, and it cuts through, rather, not that lot, that's a lot. Cuts through here onto this property because the same
So who cut that?
entity owns it.
Holder, I'm sorry. Or
The
is it-
guy, the same person owns this lot that owns this lot.
There's no house on there.
I don't know if they've built yet. This is a farm.
question,
Mhm.
Mary Catherine. If it's not owned, if it's not town open space, it's open space just for these houses in this development?
Well, it's
What do we have to
conservation
do it?
land.
What?
So it was obligatory conservation land for their subdivision. They have an open space subdivision.
Okay,
Open space subdivisions, when you dedicate open space land, the subdivision regulations, there's a number of entities that can take control of that conservation area. It can be dedicated to the town or a homeowners association or the land trust. But it's a requirement of their approval to divide the property into individual building lots that they provide this conservation area. So it's not up to them in perpetuity. It's not up to the homeowners association and or the developer or the individual owners to modify the conservation area.
So
The
it's supposed to
town
just stay-
demanded the
it's supposed to stay
demanded.
on,
It's still conservation area.
so you don't approve it, you don't improve it, you don't change it.
Right, now each conservation area, we are working, actually right now, I'm working with Corporation Council on a standard document for conservation lands. So that we don't have to go through, oh, well, in that one, they're allowed to do this, but in this one, they're not, because that's really creating quite the havoc, and it's really the matter of over years. Some of the ones perhaps from the eighties and early nineties, very simple language in the conservation easements. We have to be more specific
Mhm.
as we've
So if I'm
progressed in our society.
If I'm understanding the encroachment issue, it's the adjoining landowner, whether he's built a house or not, is maintaining this open space?
No, he cut a path, this swath. That's that width from his lot,
Right.
cut a path through the conservation area to access this. And
Which
it's
is
big
another-
enough for vehicles and,
Which you-
yeah, like
It's
it's
another-
very
They
large.
own
It's
both
another
sides.
lot that
I
he owns back
wanted,
there?
yeah, I wanted to bring up those pictures. I couldn't quickly get them. I probably can
So
if I
he
try
could-
hard.
so He could have access to the land behind it, which he also,
Yes.
and that's the problem.
So now it's a matter of restoring this area. Now there is a utility easement there as well, so it does have, there is some openness to it. You can see if I zoom in here, you can see that there's an electric easement and water main that goes through this area as well. And that was an easement, but it was much more vegetation than it was when it got clear cut.
So Mary Catherine, you brought up a very good point, asking why, what entity is this, which is also, so. And correct me if I'm wrong, but open space subdivisions were something that was popular 30 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe, and longer. But I think we've kind of, by consensus here, taken a position that some open space is not, we'd rather have the money in lieu of open space, because little open space here or there is of limited value, especially to the town. This is a great example. This is just theirs.
But it looks like it's a significant size.
Yeah.
It is.
You have
So
to mute
it's-
yourself really fast.
And the thing is that to have that as open space probably includes areas that they couldn't build on. By setting it up as an open space, it allows them to lower the size of the lot
say that.
Right.
so that they
Increase their density.
they reap the benefit from that.
Right.
So I think it's important to for the open space to be, protected as open space, even though it's not ours per se.
Right.
Because there was a reason for it and a benefit for it. And then if they just go through and do whatever they want,
Right.
then they kind
So
of.
does it come before zoning, for zoning enforcement?
That's
Well,
what, so we
this-
sent a
yeah.
zoning enforcement order. We ordered them to provide a restoration plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Conservation Commission may want to weigh in on that restoration plan. Planning and Zoning Commission, I believe, should see it as well because the conservation area was their requirement of the zoning regulations for the open space subdivision and a requirement of the approval that they gave to this development. However, I was hoping for some feedback. And again, we do know that that easement is through there. Hold on one second. We're just trying to have her join so that if my computer dies, we can just plug her in quickly. So that's, and the meeting will continue because the Zoom is running, so it will continue. It's just, yeah. How's it, what?
How did they find this?
We go up and we were inspecting for new yeah, we go out, we look at every new house that's built on multiple occasions. So
Right.
as
Isn't that
they
too
are
much?
doing improvements
Yeah.
along the road, we're finding
Oh, that's
things.
It looks like those are oaks there, and it
Mhm.
looks like that's what they wanna put in, so it is the same kind of tree that's already growing there naturally.
Okay,
I'm just asking, cause it
Uh,
looks like red oak
yeah,
Yeah.
is what they're planning. and
Yeah,
I-
that's-
I can't tell if
Yeah.
it's red oak, but they look like oak.
yeah, no matter how many times my dad handed me the tree book and the leaves in the trees and like this thing doesn't stick well when I'm in the
I
field
wanna make
unless
sure
I
they got
have
trees
the man,
and
the
they're gonna
pamphlet with
combine
me.
it, and
Right,
not just
yeah.
plant something that's gonna die and then, I got my road anyway.
Is this correct? It's its size, 1.5 inches to 2 inches?
Well,
Small
that's maybe what they're proposing. So new
Diameter,
plantings,
caliper.
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 Oh,
okay.
still,
So
that's-
it's the trunk, right?
It's a trunk, okay.
They're
It's
not-
still pretty, yeah, it's just
One and
small
a
tree.
half.
Oh, I mean, look at, here, look at, you know.
So if you were to,
Yeah.
if you're required to put plants in like street trees on a planting plan or plants for a planting plan for a site development plan, you know, you're putting in landscaping. The subdivision requirements and, in the zoning regulations talk about tree size. And generally speaking, it's like a 6 foot high
Yeah.
tree, so it usually has a caliper about that size. I do not think that would need to necessarily be adhered to when you're talking about a restoration plan. That's not planting to meet your planting requirement for,
Yeah.
for, landscaping to mature with the development. You're replacing something that was removed without authorization, so I don't think that you'd have to hold to that
That
size
could be
if
one comment that would make
that's-
sense to planning and zoning about the.
it's to have a larger tree size.
Replace what they took out, or as close as
Yeah,
possible.
So
Yeah.
what, does any of you
No,
guys
not full-grown tree, but.
know what is a size or caliper that you think is more appropriate for a grown, yeah, okay. Well, we do have several tree people on, or a couple of tree people on Planning and Zoning Commission.
Right.
The larger the better, because they're gonna have a problem getting sun.
Yeah.
Now, because they're not the same size as the other ones that grew up together.
Yeah, and again, we may have to modify because of the easement. If
Mhm.
there's power lines in there, then we're gonna have to,
I think
or
they should include
utility
some
lines.
understory stuff too.
Yeah, and they
That's
have
good
some,
one.
they have some small.
Do they have anything else?
Other question on this person who owns these two pieces of property. Is that other piece of property then landlocked unless he gets this or?
No, he
do
owns
it
from the other, off Spruce Brook
Really
and
recommending
Division
to do
Street.
this, that Meeting?
Yeah,
That
we didn't
access
get into it. My understanding is
Building equipment in that lot, it looked like there were a bunch of trucks and stuff in that.
Yeah, you've got.
that may
Some of
be
it,
something
there's also there.
else we're
And then he
dealing
has
with.
Access to his.
Yeah, so he was owning,
That lot, yeah.
yeah, he owns the first lot that's right
Yep.
here, the same entity.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, I'm all for if somebody can walk to work. I think, that's a really nice thing.
But that's not a walking path.
That's what I said when I went out. But
Well,
we-
so the town is saying we have the enforcement responsibility and authority. Now, how about when all of the lots are built out and the association is up and running?
No,
We
we
can
can
still-
right now, and I don't know how many of you were here, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. I kind of gave you the laundry list of about the 5 that we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with it at, Silver Island. We're having an enforcement issue. They did a lot of clearing of their conservation area without coming to the town to check. And again, the tree warden goes out if trees are ready to fall, if they're not healthy, he'll authorize that they can come down, but there is a path to get approval to take the trees down and or maintain to a certain level. And the homeowners association can be responsible for that as long as it's still in the spirit of the town, the regulation or the restrictions that were put in at the town that they allowed.
Enforcement responsibility, even though
I believe
the-
so, yes. I don't guarantee that, but I believe that the town can, anytime there's a conservation easement, if it was put in for the purpose of an approval. JQ, forest owner might have put a restriction on his land that was private that the town might not have been party to because he didn't want someone in the future to cut down the trees or something that would be, but these easements were required for a planning and zoning commission approval, a development approval. They were required in order to develop the land. So I believe that we have that enforcement arm to do so because they were part of the approval that it's conservation land.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just sort of speculating, but maybe after you get the association up and running there, then maybe the town then has,
So we
I
have
guess you
a,
have responsibility only if you find that the
Right.
association is failing.
so we actually had another one at the end of Walden Court where a number of the owners, one particular, but a neighboring property on the other side reported that they'd encroached into it, went out and investigated. We don't generally go looking to see, okay, are all the lines intact? We go on, our zoning goes on reports.
Mhm.
So, and we found that the area had been encroached upon. The homeowners association owns that. They got the notice as well as the owner. That's a pretty small homeowners association, so the entities are
Yeah.
very similar.
It's a
The
tough one.
homeowners are those that
Really?
are officials in the
One
homeowners
step, that's not
association.
one neighbor, and not another, but that's the only way you find out. But, it.
Or sometimes
works.
people that are hiking,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
people that are going and using the lands too,
Yeah.
fishermen, others that might go down through
Yeah.
a path. We sometimes find things,
It's a tough call.
but
Thank you.
so, so I have larger trees and understory plantings to be
Yeah.
added. And otherwise, you're, okay, I was hoping you would have seen the one for Silver Island by today too, but we actually are expecting 2 from them. But we don't have those yet. This is at least the second or third iteration of this one.
Pull out the 25-year-old, first time they did that, so wow. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Probably the ones. Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys have some experience with that one, so we may end up calling on one or two of you to help guide us as staff, because we have like 3 file drawers on Silver Island, so weeding through the materials, things weren't digital then. So reading through some of it has been a challenge to the
simple, man.
department, so,
No,
well,
no.
yeah, but to find a document or to ask for the same again, so. Again, thank you, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that help with those. Cause I would like to give the reports to Planning and Zoning Commission, the Conservation Commission has weighed in. So you might be seeing more of those than P and Z application comments.
Fine. Fortunately.
I would also, actually going back up to the town lands and the all with conservation area. As you've mentioned before, at one time, the Conservation Commission had these little signs that said conservation area. And I'm not really sure, I think somebody around here has one in their office, but with the rest of them, we don't have. So I would like to order some more of those so that when we have an encroachment issue like this, I mean, these are open development, where the developer is still there, still responsible. We have bonds in place to get the markers up, to get lots pinned, et cetera, because the development is not closed out. But in those areas that the development is finished and markers disappear over time, I think it would be lovely if the town employees could, certain officials could go out and put up a sign that shows that it's a conservation area. And we won't be able to do it right at the limit. So I hesitate to put up a sign that says boundary. But I would like to be able to, know I'm inside the conservation area and stick up a sign that says this is a conservation area, Town of Berlin Conservation Area, or something like that. It may be inside of the area, but not to be the border. Is
Okay.
that something you guys?
What signs are you looking for?
Those little, remember the yellow triangle ones that we used to have? Haven't seen those. I don't.
I might have a few.
Let me stop sharing this one.
You can't use it there. You can't use that,
Right,
not
because it's
town,
not
but-
town.
Again, but-
Or we could possibly just have one that says conservation area, be more generic with the
Yeah.
sign.
Okay, but isn't the onus on the developer for a new development?
New development, I'm not worried about.
Okay,
We have a
So-
sign they're supposed to use.
They were in the file too.
yeah, I might
In the old
have something,
file,
but
they
you
would-
know, in that cabinet over there.
Yeah.
They got destroyed
Okay.
a number of years ago.
Oh, that's
I,
too bad.
So the other.
some of
I-
us,
I prob-
some of us,
I may have about a dozen of.
I was
I
told
would
that
put
they
them
were
all
not
up on the
lasting.
property.
They were a bad material, so they
Yeah,
didn't
they
last.
oxidized.
So they
Yeah.
ended up,
Maybe.
So
the
the
takeaway was they weren't useful, so they got,
but
destroyed.
also the design, a lot of people would just yank them right off the tree.
and again, do we not expect that to possibly happen? Absolutely, but we have a lot of ownership changes where
Yeah, okay.
people don't know, they're coming to buying a land and they never look at the plot plan that shows that dotted line on their plot plan. 10
Just
feet.
like, yeah, the notice be there.
Yeah, right, because when I'm encroaching on it, I want to see that yellow sign in the way.
Yeah, they had a couple of ones.
You don't want
Yeah,
your
wanna cut-
responsible
you-
10-year-old kid to say, why are we cutting this, Dad? It says conservation. Oh. We learned that word in school this week.
It's a good idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm being sarcastic, but at the same time, it's something that really irks
Yeah.
me.
Can't hurt.
So so I don't
Let's
know.
come up with,
There's-
let's come up with some
If
signs.
somebody has an idea for, words, just send them to me. Maybe you've seen them when you've been out. Maybe you know what
When it
other.
comes out, see, take a picture of it, what it actually said.
I had one laying around for the longest time and I,
Yes, that's
it's,
what
Berlin Conservation Area.
it seems to have
That's like-
disappeared.
I had a big stack and then
Yeah, me
I
too.
didn't put them all up, so. I still-
Thank you. All right,
But they do rust when you use them as close to.
You guys discussed P O C D last week and,
Yeah, not too much for us. I thank people for being patient last meeting because it was a long meeting. We went through some of our stuff. And we ended up not discussing those at the meetings at the end of April, the environmental. So, and I'm not so sure it's gonna come up at the next meeting either.
No, it's not scheduled for the next
Next
meeting
meeting,
either,
so-
so we're
So
still
I'll be
on.
ready when it, when it happens, but, a lot of time has been spent on, other aspects of the plan of conservation and development up to this point. And we spent a lot of time on, farm issues and potential, zoning kind of things.
So economic
How can-
development and
economic
farming were the
development.
two topics for the last meeting.
They might have come up.
And they will come, that'll be, both those topics are being continued to the June meeting.
Farm stand. Like that, and, so, yeah, so our kind of stuff hasn't come to the surface yet for any kind of discussion there, but it's been some pretty interesting discussions and I'm sure everybody, all of the members from representatives from the different commissions, you know, most everybody's speaking up and has opinions on things, so it's been some good conversation, so.
And
Haven't
that's-
resolved that, I mean, that hour and a half or whatever just flies by.
Mm.
You know, and we didn't get through everything that we were hoping to last time, so.
And a lot of it is, and I think you said it quite well, last time you have this commission has a lot of high priority items. So prioritizing the high priorities to the right place and kind of weighing that is something that each commission is somewhat being asked to do in conjunction with the implementation committee, directing, you know, the as to where in the priority list it is for the rest of the town too, so that the commission, each individual commission that has something as a priority can weigh its importance against the how the rest of the town, the commissions and committees feel about that particular item in the P O C D.
Mhm.
So that's where the implementation committee is really needs to communicate with each other as to what their commissions are saying and can get that information back to their own commissions. Because most of the action items are something that the individual
Yeah.
commissions themselves need to kind of take the lead on, even if it means staff does it or some other entity is actually responsible to get the product. It's somebody pushing this item over that item, especially when you have so many that are high priority. Have to chunk away at them over the course of 10 years. It is a 10-year plan. So and that came up at one of the meetings was, this is a lot for a short period of time. And it's a lot for a short period of
Yeah.
time, and therefore you really have to look at what's month one, year one, year two to move forward with and have both the time and the resources to
I
deal with.
thought, I think it was your point that you made during the meeting, you were talking about farms and came up about the definition. And, you know, it's like maybe we dealt with larger farms in the past, and maybe we added a medium size or something to it and come up with, to be helping and things that make sense for that next tier. And maybe we don't address chickens on the, you know, like, on the each household kind of item, you know, like at this point in time, but there's a lot of stuff that might be helpful for those larger properties and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, so maybe looking at some things like that, helping out with the agritourism and and things like that in town. Like I said, in the farm stands, everybody seemed to really like to see what they can do to help out with, places like that, you know.
And even the
and-
small mom and pop ones that are really just,
Yeah.
you know, it's got some tomatoes and cucumbers out
Yeah.
front, not just the farm stands that you stop and have grocery shop for your
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
week's worth of produce, you know,
That you might have to. Yeah, so what you might have to do for.
which does not
modifying
meet the
planning, so
regulations
kind
as
of
they stand.
and stuff to make some of those legal. So. So it's been that kind of stuff.
Well, it's all, yeah, it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Challenge. Thank you.
I did have another trail question.
Fire away.
Again, this might be a quick question and my computer says it might have to be a really quick question. The Stantac Road was abandoned in 1995 by the town, but there's a trail. And a couple of parking spaces. We're having an encroachment issue onto the town land there. So that's, you know, one thing that we're dealing with. But, if anyone has any of the history of the trail there that they are willing to forward, if you know it and you're willing to send me an email on it, I'd appreciate it. We're trying to get kind of a timeline going.
Crystal Creek.
The one just to the, right, where we, there, they didn't bring the trial. Yeah, well, the parking area is still there, it just was improvements to it. It's a spot for 3 or 4 cars and
There's
Well,
actually-
yeah,
there's
the
actually
Grand
a couple
Trust.
of trail- Yeah, but there's a couple of trailheads there. There's one on Lamentation Drive too.
right, so I'm trying to, but get there, like how they came to, those trailheads came to be and where, if anybody has like just information, I'm just trying to piece together
I don't know, but I would think.
some histories we've
Yeah.
heard and not heard, and I'm trying to piece together some documents and stuff. So, like I said, if somebody remembers something or has a,
All I remember is the access that Mr. Buck was always complaining about.
so that was one of the things we
Access was where he
found.
was- Wanted to.
I think there was a suit with the town,
Yeah.
and I'm not through those documents yet.
Squatters' rights or something, because it was
Yeah, it was
abandoned,
like-
wanted it.
Yeah.
So we have a lot on that,
Yeah,
and
that's what
so
I figured.
it's more of the
Yes.
things since then,
Yeah.
like when those few parking spaces went in and stuff, and to see what we.
I don't know that. I don't.
To see if anybody has just, and if not, that's fine. We changed our Laserfish system for searching minutes and I struggle with it, so I can't do it as fast as I used to do. So, you know, I have to usually actually have
I don't want to
somebody.
belabor the point, but and the relevance of the history to what is currently going on is what?
With the enforcement, I'm trying to get the enforcement, and then we're working on trail maps and on that as well, and access points and signing them or not, and having complete information to lead a discussion for decisions.
But encroachment's encroachment. right?
Encroachment's encroachment.
Okay,
That's not the matter. It's more
Okay.
access that I'm
well,
trying to figure out from the standpoint of making recommendations or not. And then we need them for, you know, tons of other things too, like every time we write a grant and, you know, whatever, and certainly for signs to be put up.
I have a motion to modify an earlier motion.
Earlier this evening.
Yes.
Meetings.
That we supersede that motion to take care of the last month's minutes. Now that we have enough people that were.
oh, you got Tom?
Yeah, and Mary Catherine and me.
They needed 3.
Need 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
instead of for next month to, you know, let's add that to the end. To
Okay,
the end of the agenda.
let's do it. Well, you have modification.
Yeah.
And I just note that in the minutes, we'll just note it up at the top, That
Yeah,
it
I
was
didn't put it on the
revisited at that,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, thank you, because we don't want
Remember I
somebody
told
to
you
skip the
shouldn't
minutes.
Jump around a lot?
I'm right back up at the top. Yeah.
Thank you.
Make the motion, no?
Again,
As is and.
I will make a motion as is.
The minutes.
That's it.
Yeah. To
And
go
then, okay, and then,
Okay, so.
reopen the initial motion.
You have to second it too, and then there's discussion.
Right.
I second it.
Okay, so any
and my,
discussion?
my discussion is some edits to it, relatively minor. With the scout camping
Mhm.
to, eliminate the
Oh, you can't
My most
Oh,
expensive
the
person.
second- It's not there. So Mary Catherine, he wants
Second
to,
part of the sentence.
he wants to add that,
Yeah.
the location.
At
Edgebrook,
Brook.
right.
Yeah.
Video. Okay.
Yeah, at the
Up
camping
video.
area,
Up it.
at
Now
Hackery
do
Brook
Logitech.
Conservation
I'm
Area.
trying to figure out how much I spent.
That's right.
on one of my
Oh,
purses.
The second one.
And then
Do Logitech.
So I've
get rid
spent
of
a
the
lot.
rest of the
see if it
sentence
works.
Okay.
that starts with including on the second one.
Maybe not.
Replacing it,
Just
yeah,
go to like
replacing it with that.
Get your string pulled back.
Yeah.
I got those.
Attached.
I know. That's right.
Sorry, just went off
Second.
that.
Yeah.
These are.
There's the Logitech is
So let me put it this one.
And then-
now.
My first
Start
had to
video.
Oh,
See if that'll do it.
It has to-
Yeah.
Oh.
Define it.
All right.
And then this should just, let's see.
There you go.
I got that.
Excellent.
So, that's what I'm
Because this is all scout camping, and then this is.
It says recording.
So he is.
Still.
One for day, one
No, but this is a. Oh,
Yeah,
I see, I see, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's
Yeah.
not, and that one kind of
So
goes with
I
it,
have
but this is,
put it
these two
in
are totally different.
Got it.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear any of that.
No, no, that's good. It's, I'm just going
Well,
over.
I'm a
Which one?
So is it easier, is it easier for you to email to, or can I just give it to?
Yeah, I could just.
I can make a copy of it
No,
too, if you.
that's fine. And it's not just Boy Scout camp, it's Scout. camp.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's authorized, it would really
Right.
be authorized.
Yeah.
Groups.
So,
Right,
Because they,
yeah, because it may not, it could be.
Yeah.
Oh, so you now
Scouting America?
Yeah, they got rid of the boy. Yeah,
Scouting
Scouting America.
So Girl Scouts is still Girl Scouts, and boys are not. allowed.
4-H. My dad.
Yeah.
Who those 4-H kids? Who those
So the-
4-H?
It's just to add that the camping area,
At Hatchery Brook,
eliminate that.
okay.
On here, it says Boy Scout, so whatever, I was gonna just say Scout.
Scout camping,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
then
think
it's
they
not
are,
a
they
camp
are pretty
fire,
much
it's the
big.
fire
Fire
pit.
pit.
And then you should have a part C, that's the other items that would start here, because those aren't associated with the scout camping.
Okay.
They're just, they're another part of the
Fire.
use of town land. but-
Okay.
But not,
It is.
All right.
does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does, but I may send it to you for your perusal.
Right, so.
All in favor of accepting the modified minutes?
I can't vote. Is that the only modification
Oh,
that you gave? Okay,
oh,
I
that's right.
didn't know if you guys were.
Well, it said
voting or not.
fire, no, it said fire, campfire, and
Yeah, yeah.
fire pit.
It's fire
Right.
pit.
pit, and
Okay.
then there's a section C
Yeah.
for the last two items.
No, okay.
but actually, so only
Cause I was actually
you three.
sort of
Yeah.
there.
It's not me, it wasn't.
I was,
Can they make?
All right.
No, I was there.
You were there, so.
But I was
so
remote.
only
Yeah,
the
You can
three.
make the motion.
So you three, right?
yes.
I don't even
Oh,
wanna.
that's why that-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, only you three guys can,
Okay,
vote.
okay. So you have the motion already on the
Yeah.
floor, right?
Yep.
And is it seconded?
Yep.
Second?
Yep, I can,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. And then we just vote?
Yeah, all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
You
There
got
we
it.
go.
Unanimous, 3-0.
That was
Hey,
hard.
see now that, so twice as much.
Should have been.
Put it off till next
Appreciate
month.
it.
I was like,
You're right, now we don't have.
Yeah, but you might not have the right people.
Right,
next time,
that's what I
but
started thinking. We had to be- we had to be-
So,
I know.
Let's just
Right.
do it, call.
Any other, items, topics? Otherwise? No, how about a motion? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, third.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
8:10? Okay.
It was 09.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Changed to 10, I was like, glanced off. And who made the motion?
Ron.
Rob made the.
Rob, so sorry, Rob,
Mary
sorry,
Catherine.
Rob, apologies.
And Karen, thirded it. Working.
No, 4 years.
I actually have taken the rest of this